Alrighty, back a little bit early here as we head into the second map of this semi-final best of 3 between Crest and Cyclops. Winner to the major. For Cyclops, it's one map to go. For Crest, they need to win the next two, Mandy, starting with their pick of Chalet.
Yeah, here we go. Finally, into Chalet. We're going, like you said, a little bit early, but the ball is seriously rolling here for Cyclops. They had a really good showing over on Nighthaven Labs. We just want to reiterate that Crest did actually play this yesterday against Exist. They did win it, but in 7-3 fashion, so it wasn't like the easiest affair for them. They did struggle, especially on their attacking half against Exist, and I imagine they're going to see a lot of those same struggles against Cyclops too.
Yeah, I mean, right now you got to give Cyclops definitely the favoritism tag coming even into Crest's map pick of Chalet, and even despite the fact that Cyclops lost this map to Scar. Scars are a juggernaut team. That's a team you can lose to, especially in the 15th round, 8-7. Nothing wrong with that. I think they picked up 4 attacking rounds in that game. So CAG obviously got a good second half in them. We know they can attack. I think the question marks will come down to their defense here on Chalet more than anything. Look at that match, which obviously wasn't that long ago. They only picked up 2 defensive rounds in their defensive half. So if they can better that to start here in this first half, then the warning signs will be certainly alarming around the map for Crest if they can't sort of shut out this first half and get maybe a 4-2 lead, 3-3 at minimum. If Cyclops really dominate defensively, then certainly the signs will be there that they can close this map out and head back to a major for the first time this year as well. Last time they went to a major was Jonkoping back at the end of 2022, of course missing out for Copenhagen. So they'll be itching to get back.
Interesting that you say that as well, because Chalet typically does lean itself into being a more attacker-favored map. The architecture of it does mean that playing that roam game and your fall of routes do often get cut off by those windows and doorways and that type of thing. So I think, like you said, it is really going to be on the onus for this defense to be able to land some good rounds here. And of course, it is Cyclops starting out. It's going to be down to this kitchen and dining bomb site is the first one that we will go to. Cyclops, they're going to look to hold on to this top solid position where Crest are attacking just at the moment. Stirinaku wants to send in some of that info, but there's going to be a lot of flashbangs, grenades, and stuff like that that are going to enable this entry through on this northern side of the map.
Things go out from Anaton on the Velt camp over towards Solar position. Plays piano though. Can't really necessarily play off it himself. Just outside that bathroom position. It is lower, one to watch. Had a very good game on Nighthaven Labs for Crest. Unfortunately, put the mods on him, and he has actually died initially to Anaton. Chibizu tries to swing Solar. Sirenico, that's already in good position, has actually overtaken that bathroom spot. May look to pressure Piano. Big window. Anaton doesn't quite hit the shots. Gets blocked. 4 versus 4. Not the worst of starts for Crest. They still got to deal with a couple of roamers. Arcali on the Solus, which has made its way into Chalet here. Something to contend with late round.
Not too bad though for Crest at the moment. They have got that top floor control that they were looking for now. There's not a lot of vertical potential for them. Actually, there is 2 sets of breaching charges on the side of the Ace and the IQ of Choppy and Eclair, of course. So Eclair, we can see now getting in that top floor, can start to make use of that vertical, get that hatch open, pressure over on that kitchen side while the rest of his teammates go down to West Main and try and flush it out from the horizontal.
Breaching charge utilized in towards bedroom just to get to subvert over towards kitchen. Suzu holding out in towards dining at the moment. Some sightlines in towards kitchen, watching for what may eventually be either a drop down or trophy push. 50 seconds, bit of time, and Anderson just very quietly trying to maybe get a bit of retake potential here on the vert. At least maybe catch someone off guard for Crest. Sneaks in towards Piano, 40 seconds. EE1D will momentarily stall him out. He's forced to move off that position. Flash. But prior to the flash, it's Arcalia hitting some shots. Cyclops have just stalled out this attack from Crest. They get the kill. Eclair trying to get the plant. No pings going out, so I'm not sure if they're necessarily aware. At the bomb chassis, though, now his position is known, and he gets shut down. And that will most likely be the round from here, because Choppy was still outside. Not a position that you'd want to be in when your team is looking for an execution on site. Little bit of dysfunction there on the attack from Crest has cost them. They kind of fell off the vert position, and then it was just a double stack down below with a push in towards the bomb chassis default, and there was no real cover. So Cyclops, in the end, actually won that round pretty comfortably.
Yeah, like I was saying, Crest seriously jumped the gun there on the execute. They did it in labs as well, if you remember too. There were some times where Crest reached the bomb site, but they're not quite ready for the retake to come through from Cyclops later on. They start getting that bomb down, but the cover is inadequate. Not only that, but Anderson gets a really nice retake through the top floor that could have been cut off in so many ways. There could have been someone on the piano window balcony watching him come through. There could have been someone on the double window, which probably would have made more sense, that type of thing. But then as a result, Cyclops are just able to claw their way back in through the map. They're even able to make that west stairs retake work because the players weren't quite ready there either. So just a lot of things going in the right way for Cyclops and punishing the mistakes and punishing Crest for jumping the gun too quick.
Lovely view of the free camp through bar stock in towards
It's so
bar.
cool.
It's so nice, and it's done well. And then the little sort of skip up to the top floor of library to get the same cinematic view. Illustrious obs work from our Japanese observer. So into the second round, and it's a slight hold towards this top library position, sitting in the corner. Will be Chibisu has the ADSs.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Chibisu does have the ADSs, but not the Wamai magnets. And what you've got to look at on the side of Crest is that their lineup really leans into to direct attacking inside of library, right? They've got the Capital on board, which is not going to be caught by those ADSs. So that corner library position where Chibisu is currently sitting and is protected is going to be flushed out pretty easy.
Depends on how much he sort of wants to commit to that position. Might just try and bait out a lot of the utility along with the ADSs. Just thought for a moment there was a little bit of focus towards that snow breach. But they've turned their attention back now to top library. Been out on the balcony. Obviously they're going to be aware of the fact that Chibisu is sitting in that corner. He's already taken some damage. So I guess job number one at the moment for Crest on their list is to deal with Chibisu. At the moment, to be fair, they're not looking like they're in that much of a hurry. They should be able to deal with him really comfortably here. The lineup that they've got in terms of utility and the operator lineup, they got a Capital. Like, this should be really comfortable to deal with Chibisu.
Yeah. There should be nothing that is able to catch this Capital bolt. They're going to be careful about it anyway and actually showing the utility. That grenade is really well sunk from Tiopi, so that's exactly what they were waiting for. They knew that Chibisu had to move off the back of that Capital bolt, and he walked straight into the hands of Tiopi's grenade. So great first pick going out for Crest.
And timed it well. So once those flames come out, you want to drop hatch. Nade's basically there to stop him from doing that. Took a bit of chip damage from the flames too. There's a trade that do lose the Hibana, and that's their only hard breach. Not too much of a factor for bar games. There's plenty of avenues in towards site without needing the hard breach. And Choppy does respond at least with a kill onto Black Ray. Deals with the form. Just outside that sort of top library hallway position. 55 seconds. So in terms of time, not doing too bad considering it's a 4 versus 3. I kind of like what Crest have been able to do thus far. The biggest downside in the round though, man, is they haven't cleared top library, but they are just finding kills through the mezzanine. Goes Whiskey, traded immediately though by Suzu. So from top library, swings, gets re-control of the position. Eclair wins the battle against Darkali, but Eclair and Choppy both very low on health. So despite a 1 versus 3, certainly a winnable moment for Suzu. But if this plant goes down, suddenly that big window play is going to be very difficult to win, especially with the vert through the hatch. So Crest get a very strong attacking round. A lot of it just kind of coming down to the fact that they just won quite a lot of gunfights above site in towards library. Didn't even have to clear library stairs.
Yeah, like honestly, the utility was the name of the game there for Crest as they went in for that attack. They made full use of all the grenades, all the Capital bolts, all the flashbangs that they needed to actually enable those kills that were going out in the top floor, right? Like you would imagine with the Azami on board, that top floor should be a stronghold and should be really safe from the window play. But unfortunately, Cyclops falls short because Crest just hold on to their positions. They play their due diligence on the window and they actually enable themselves to get into the building and find those kills just in the right timing. I think the big thing about like playing this chalet attack, right, is like, yes, you're going to sit in your one power position on the attack for a really long time, but as soon as you can find that opportunity, you need to be like individually enabling yourself to jump in and get that kill and then get back out again, essentially, right? So I think that Crest were really cautious and careful in finding each of those one-to-ones.
The 1-1 start here on Chalet. Good round, good signs from Crest. Get one on the board early. I think it'll be largely similar to Labs in the sense that a 3-3 half probably is fine for either side. Cyclops proved against Scars that they can attack Chalet well. As a recent match to sort of fall back on historically. And Crest did that as well in a round where it's not as if it was the most perfect start. A little slow to clear. Chibisu top library eventually dealt with him. So Black Ray dining at the moment. Boiler position for Arcully on the Solus. Probably needs to be, I think, up above if they're wanting to deal with the drones. Only one drone destroyed this round, spots them, but not dealing with them.
Actually, 2 players here in the basement. I think Arcully has his position known, but he knows that the drone has come through as well. So really good job there from Sirinoko to be able to claim that life nice and early. The Solus is an important one to take down, right? Because if Crest want to go for a sweep across the map, they don't want their drones to be seen by the defense. And they don't want that info to be made so known to CAG. So taking down Arcully nice and early is a great first pick for Crest.
Yeah, 100%. Along with the fact that you just get the player advantage as well for the rest of the round very early on too. Then it's a big operator pick on top of it. Drone game can be a little bit easier now, more comfortable for them in this third round. So a bit of a game's entry point for them, at least for Choppy and Lua. Sireneko just outside as well, still on the drones.
Yeah,
so
see, this
slow
is the
entry.
important part. Right, but this is the important part about the Solus going down early. You don't want to sweep into a Solus. That's the big thing, right? Because as soon as you sweep into the Solus, your push is like 100% telegraphed. They know exactly where you're coming from. But now that they've taken down the Solus early, they've then found these ways to get inside of the building from the bottom going up. That's a really nice pick for Eclair, having that mezzanine control and can make really quick work with the wall going to the bomb side as well.
This was like a very aggressive position to hold there in the hallway. When you're already down a player, they still haven't really gotten breached. Now they do, right? But you probably didn't have to hold that position. Anderson's then not really in a good position to swing because you're facing really the long angle of the corridor. A little bit disappointing at the moment from Cyclops defensively and chopping with the nade onto Suzu. So
yeah, Crest,
they're getting picked apart.
Game. Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, they're getting exactly picked apart, and it's all through the info. Now 1 versus 5 for Black Ray as the diffuser is starting to go down. Flashbang's being sent his way as well. So it doesn't look like it's going to go in his way whatsoever. He's completely cut off here in the retake. But like you're saying, they got picked apart completely. It was truly Crest being a step ahead in the info game. That's a nice shot, though, from Black Ray onto the double window, but taken down to just a sliver of HP. Sireneko's there for that trade, and CAG go down.
Yeah, that was probably the most disappointing round from CAG in this entire best of 3 semi-final. That was definitely a round that they just were quite lackluster. I'm not too sure whether or not Arcully actually got droned out or they had the information, but the way that they pushed him down below in wine, they were quite direct in their approach, as if they knew where he was. So that's already a bit of an issue. And so you lose that player early on, you lose the Solus, then the drone game is quite strong for Crest, and honestly, again, considering you've lost a player, Chibisu in a very acute off angle at the back end of the library hallway. No real potential to get traded either. You lose that life. Suddenly it's a 5-on-3, and you've got the mezzanine breach available as well in towards office, basically for free because you got no contest on Rome, got no contest from the library hallway. Just makes that round really comfortable for Crest, and you probably saw it in the kill feed because they evidently were able to just clean sweep the rest of the site. 2-1 lead, but a reminder, Mandy, and not a good one for Crest. They had a somewhat similar decent start at Nighthaven Labs, and Cyclops then got rolling.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We don't want to call it too early, right? Once again, like, this is a tale of two halves, especially on a map like Chalet, which the way that Crest have been playing it, they have seriously leaned into the architecture of this map to find those opening and initial picks from playing cutoffs, just holding angles on windows, and finding these really easy entries that they're able to just inject themselves straight into the map and cut a player off playing that roam and punish their positioning. So here we go. Once again, we're doing this attack onto Chalet's side from the library sweep going across. Black Ray does know about Choppy on the other side, but I think the first thing that they need to identify here is, like, how are they going to be able to use Lua here on that Amaru, right? Like, obviously, they want to inject Lua into the building somehow. There's a line to support it. There's Grim to flush out positions too. So I feel like Crest are cooking something up here.
Yeah. Could eventually look for a bedroom grapple in, and obviously they want the vert, get control of this bedroom. Anderton on the Valve cams. Information. So far, I think Crest have been able to win the information game. No solace in this round from Cyclops. So just holds out towards bathroom, wanting to keep this vert control up above. Grim into the round as well for Choppy. Hive launcher being utilized to try and clear this bathroom position. It's actually a nitro cell from Arcali though that finds the kill, and 3 in quick succession go the way of Cyclops. A much more convincing round. They shut down this attack before it even really began. The bees do buzz around in bathroom, but no one in them. So that is a very quick result. The sends did not work out. Obviously, all dying essentially at the same time. He does get one, but immediately traded. Top solo being held by Anaton. Trophy stairs position now being pushed by Cyreniko as the solo. In a 1 versus 3, knows there's one above. Takes the fight, wins it. Good little win for Cyreniko, but unfortunately, there's still 2 on site, still a minute, and so low on health now.
Ruffle on 1.5 in hand, so he is going to try and make use of these long line of sight angles that have been opened up by the defense, of course, to try and take down these remaining 2 players. Black Ray looks real confident there on his own, 1.5 times in his hands. Ping goes out as well, so they had full awareness exactly where he was, and he's able to take him down nice and easy. A good idea for Crest, you know, try and change up the tempo, go for something a little bit quicker through the mid-rounds, but it was way too telegraphed. I think that was the big down point in that attack strategy, right? They sent their Amaru in through the basement to just Amaru up the main hatch with all the flashbangs, the lion scans going on, yada yada. There's a Mozzie waiting on the other side that knows exactly what is going on, because they haven't really done their due diligence in actually drawing away the defenders and trying to play the unpredictability game, or they haven't made room for that Amaru play to actually work, right? They've just tried to brute force their way into the bomb site, which, look, sometimes it can work, but against Cyclops, they seem very clued into that.
Yeah, I agree. 2-2. Pretty good from Cyclops. Got to remember, against Scars defensively, they only got the 2 rounds. So now 2 rounds of an opportunity to actually better that this time around here on Chalet. Into the 5th we go. And a very convincing round win as well. Claire's going to get off of the Ace and onto the Grim. Whiskey as well onto the Flores now to bring those Rotero. So no hard breach to be brought this round by Crest. They will have the secondaries though on the Grim, which can be utilized if required. Very curious to see sort of how they're going to approach this round. We didn't really get to see too much of the Grim in the last round, mainly used to try and clear out that bathroom position as an entry point. Over the bar games though in this round can be used to kind of clear out library. I imagine that's probably the goal for Eclair on the Grim with the Hive launchers. We'll see. That does eventuate. A little shot through the fireplace window. Anaton still holding the mezzanine. Of course, top library enforced with that top library stairs deployable shield. And it looks like maybe could be a sweep across from the north side though from Crest.
Yeah, I was just thinking exactly that. Crest have changed their attacking strategy and philosophy going into this particular round. Last time we saw them direct attack into library with all the utility, the capital, your flashbangs, your nades. This time around, they've got the Flores in their hands, right? So what they want to do is they want to get Whiskey into a position in the mid-round where he can comfortably just sit on those Rotero drones and take down all of their setup that has occurred on top of mezzanine and top of library stairs. But first, they've got to sweep across the map. They've got to make sure there's no one sitting inside of office. That's pretty freely given up to them. Lua can open up this angle as well inside of the office wall. That's going to allow them to just throw across their utility and clear the defense with ease.
Minute and a half remaining in the round. So one of the slower rounds that we've probably seen so far in Chalet. Couple of little contact fights where obviously it's gone second best for CAG. Suzu low. Black Ray's taking a bit of chip damage, but they've still got control of these areas like library stairs. Mud as well gets cleared out too. I mean, the thing is for Crest though, at least pop library is no longer a concern, but you've still got someone like an Anaton, for example, that can bite them in the backside.
That is true, but okay, there you go. Just as you say his name, he's able to take down a player just outside that fluke double. I was getting a bit worried there. We were watching Lua actually walk in through that piano hallway straight into mezzanine, and I was thinking, Anaton, what's going on there? And he actually goes away with a fadeaway kill down into the basement. Jibisu almost being misdrone there, but it gets his kill of his own out on the double window. That's not the diffuser going down though. There is still vertical pressure there for Crest as they try and flush out the remaining players in the bomb site.
4 versus 3 for Cyclops. A good opportunity to take a little advantage heading into the second half. If they can win this, 3's pretty good. 2 double stack over towards bar stock. Still have to deal with Anaton that can go with a bit of a flank late round, 20 seconds. Still trying to open up the floorboards to get as much sightlines as possible. I fear that this round might be too far gone for Crest. Wesky just has to go for it. Default at the half four. Will he get this off? If he does, it's maybe winnable. Doesn't. Denied. That's the round. It's over. It's a 3-2 lead for Cyclops. No time remaining once it gets that deep into the round. Jibisu, for good measure, gets the last kill on to Lua. Pumps up the KDA stats. Was always in position to deal with the big window push. And Cyclops take
an excellent team. Scars, I think, are by far and away the best team to come out of Japan this year alone. And I think that, yeah, Cyclops, if they take it out here, I think is a really good showing for their maturity over this year as well. They've really had an upgrade in playstyle, in my opinion, have Cyclops going into what could potentially be Atlanta if they win this match.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. You've got such a big prize at the end of this match on the line, which we know historically can maybe lead to some nervous moments from Cyclops when they've got something on the line, when there's something to really fight for. Those are the times where they do kind of suffer a little bit. It's the group, like historically, group stages are always really easy for them. They look amazing, they look super dominant, and then they get these moments and they start to, well, choke. And they haven't shown any signs of that. That's been a step in the right direction for them as a team. At the mental level, probably not so much at the skill level, because I think we all know skillfully, like, COG was still a top 3 team, I think, last stage too, Mandy, but I think mentally they weren't there, and they look like a different team mentally now. The way they held on, Nighthaven Labs didn't start that well, a little shaky, but got themselves back into it, and Chalet has also been, it's a bit back and forth, but they've been able to sort of contain their composure a little bit. And now I'm very curious, because we get to see, despite winning that last round, they don't get any momentum because of the tech pause. It's a full-blown rehost. What are they going to be like here? Defensively now, they go Snow Wine. They back themselves in to take these early engagement fights to win. There's actually 2 down below, 1 towards Blue, 1 in towards Con. This is going to be quite interesting to see how they play this site, because I feel like Cyclops will want to try and take the roam game up above, but do Crest go for a bit more of a direct approach? They've got breach opened early, but I think they'll eventually look to clear out these roamers.
Yeah, I think you've called that exactly right. Lua is on that buck, and so they do want to make use of the vertical to eventually put down that pressure inside of Winery. But the thing they've got to worry about here is that there's an Azami set up on the top floor. It's actually a Crowley playing it with those keeper barriers in hand, so he's not going to be cut off so easily from the window pressure going out on the top floor. Actually, Crowley's fallen off rather early. He's just left his teammate in Chipisu all alone here on this top floor, but he's just going to try and make his way out too, not realizing the double window is open. That's a good first pick for Crest.
Yeah, really good start, and I think they needed that themselves. A lot of the talking points have been about CAG. Crest are not going to just bow out of this. This is their map pick. And as I said, sort of during that rehost, if they win this, it's 3-3. That's not bad. That's fine. It's maybe even part of the course in this kind of matchup against CAG. Cyrenaica to pull the goo mine out in towards games. 1 more frag grenade available. Gemini up at the moment if required. And Barstock is where there's a lurker. That's the Azami. While Crouch still finds the head of Cyrenaica anyway. Brings it to a 4 versus 4. That's a big fight to have won for Arkali. Over towards Barstock. Gets games control. And on the lurk still. That's the biggest thing. That's now the map still now being dangerous for Crest.
Yeah, and the worry here that they have is that the time is starting to tick down, right? If they want to make use of the vertical from Lua, they need to get him in that ground floor really soon, right? So this is a bit dangerous here for Crest now. Finally, they have managed to get Lua inside of lobby, but now they need to set up the flank watch. That's what's going on the drone work. There is a player starting to retake up West Main as well of one of those defenders. I'm not exactly sure who it is, but as this vertical game comes out, the thing they have to worry about as well is the C4 in the hands of Anaton too. It could very easily take out a player, and with only 34 seconds left to go, Crest have got to start planning out the execute too.
Flames, 30 seconds, can't push through just yet, Whiskey. Nothing close at the shelf, so it's all about the positions over towards Blue, which Choppy can try and clear out. Deployable shield though, very handy. And Eclair's very low as well. Choppy spots at least the roaming pushing behind him. And nice, the headshot onto Arkali. It's only Suzu left with 10 seconds. 1 on 2. Winnable though, considering the time. Whiskey's got the diffuser, has to drop gas to get this down. Goes towards a wine position. I think he wants to maybe go as close to default as possible, and has done so. Just on the edge. Suzu doesn't spot him, doesn't deny, and Choppy's watching. Big round 1 to close the half for Crest. CAG collapse on sight. And despite being low on health, Choppy holds still, stands tall. 3-3 at the half.
Fantastic attack for Crest as well as they go into that like final round, right? They put the pressure on the bomb site by opening up that wall early, and it actually forces two of the anchors to remain down in the bomb site, thinking, okay, the execute could come through at any time. We need someone to watch this breach, and as a result, going for that roam clear is made a lot easier, right? There are less players that you have to worry about because you know that there are anchors down there worrying about some phantom push coming in through the breach. So they make that execute work on the top floor really nice, and even though there was a bit of a lurk that went down on the ground floor, they did their due diligence of droning him out, clearing him, make sure that he had fallen off back into the basement. They did the full flush with the vertical and eventually were able to translate that into the execute. So through the mid round, there are a lot of things that Crest had to think about there, right? They had to think about making the vertical work, they had to think about making sure they can't be flanked, and also planning out the execute as well. And they did all three of those things to perfection.
And puts us in a good position, I think, going into the second half, where it still keeps this game alive, this series alive. Remember, Crest win this, we got a clubhouse, and anything can happen there. It's not a given. Nothing will be given to you in a semi-final to go to the major. Crest are going to be fighting tooth and nail. And I think they've shown enough now in this series, Mandy, that this is not like a one-way beatdown. Like, it was 7-5 Labs. It's 3-3 Chalet. Like, these are close. Like, these are based round by round. We're not just seeing Cyclops just smash them 7-1, 7-2, and win comfortably in these rounds. These rounds are all very close, almost coin flip rounds for the most part. So it's just a matter of who can have their moments be more impactful throughout this second half. So Frost map towards library position. Anaton on the Montang. It was banned out in Labs, but it's available here in Chalet. That's going to be a big source, I think, of strength for Cyclops here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And if you can think of any player on the Montaigne, it is Anaton, right? This guy is like tried and true, the Monty King of Japan as he makes his way in through lobby. Of course, Sireneko's not going to be able to see any drones going through the ground floor because there is none. There is just one big drone in Anaton as he goes all the way up the mezzanine and call out to his teammates. There is literally no one here. There is just one guy in the lobby box who's now been cut off by Black Ray on that fluke double window. And there you have it. One side of the map is fully cleared. A grenade to sink as well from Macaulay. And the second frag onto the player inside of Piano will open up this round for Cyclops.
Can't sort of help but raise my eyebrow a little bit because as I've been saying that these rounds have been coin flips, this is one of the more dominant ones from Cyclops to start. They're attacking half. That's better from Whiskey. And they got the control of Library. I think Sirenoko may be expecting a bit more of a push in. Looking for the guard break. The nade doesn't find the answer to deal with Anaton. Although he tries to pull the pistol out. And momentarily, there was an opportunity to maybe deal with the Montang. Had they done so, 2 versus 3, and this round would have been on. But now Sireneko feels the pressure. Forces the drop towards games. They have the intel on that. Red pings above. Knows there's 2. Up towards top Library. Whiskey loses his life, though. And now the round is likely done, despite maybe a very, very small window of opportunity briefly being there for Crest. They're unable to capitalize, and it should be a Cyclops 4-3 lead.
I'm going down now as well for Anaton. Surely this one is going to be closed out. There's no way he's going to win this post plant, and I think that's actually 3 in the round for Crowley. So a big round from him on the Yana to push it over the line here for CAG.
So 3 rounds away now for Cyclops. You can count them down one by one. They get a little bit closer. Now, I'm pretty certain both tac pauses should be available for both teams. I don't think we've seen them
so,
utilized.
yeah.
So it was just the tech pause, right? So understanding that as we move forward, if Crest lose this round, maybe it would be due time to call that tac and talk things over. Second half, different factor compared to the first half when they went on that tech pause. A lot of the focus in that would have been probably about winning that last round of the half, in which they did. So kitchen dining here in the 8th round. Again, the Montang, and I imagine this will be a familiar theme for the rest of this half. So Crest are going to have to play into that, knowing full well Anaton, absolutely amazing on the Montang. What do they bring to deal with it?
Well, it's Legion, right? So at the moment, Sireneko, of course, he has had his buff come through as well, is going to bring along that Legion to try and put it in the entry spots for Anaton, right? Once that Legion mine is inside the Monty, he's got to withdraw his shield to take out that Legion mine at some point, right? So hopefully with that passive intel the defense is now brought along, they're able to stop Anaton in his tracks from getting his way into the building and try and capitalize on that opportunity.
So, kitchen dining. 8th round, 3 rounds away from the major. It's all just being set up nicely for Cyclops. On the attack. The attacking side of Chalet has been kind to them so far this stage. For stage 2, it's all about just closing out what's in front of them. Choppy, obviously wanting to keep Piano locked down with those Kiba barriers. You hear the goo mines going out. As you said, Manny, to probably try and help alleviate some of that Montaigne pressure. Just a single hard breach in this round. No secondaries either. So Suzu's life definitely going to be quite valuable here on kitchen dining, considering he has to open up this dining wall along with this office wall.
A bomb has been located.
He will be very safe to do so, though. CAG with the Monty in 8, I think it was actually just Anderson, like literally holding on to 2 pre-placed drones, could very easily get his players inside of the building. So that wall is going to be open without contest, and so is the wall below as well. That dining wall has not got any holes for any tricking or C4 or anything like that. So Anderson's just going to make his way straight on, and with that Monty, he's going to put in that pressure from jungle. Not just that, but we've just seen Black Ray as well come down from below in the basement, making sure that no one can flank them from there. Chipisu, I believe it was through the breach, has just caught a player off guard trying to go for that retake in the top floor, and it's all CAG so far.
Whiskey gets one, at least onto Marcully. Choppy, well, like Whiskey, now very low on health, essentially the same with a minute 10 remaining. Cyclops in the better of the 2 teams' position for sure. Another Gumon out from Sireneko. I don't know if the goo mines are going to be enough to stop this ever-present onslaught from Cyclops as they find yet another kill. Down West Main stairs goes Sireneko to maybe go hunting. Bring it back to 2 versus 3 to start win the battle. The entry from Wine is won by Black Ray. And like the last round prior to this, it's a 4 versus 1. You don't want to be the one. And Cyclops now are just 2 rounds away from heading to Atlanta.
Really good work there from Cyclops, and the presence of the Monty is just absolutely terrifying. In that round, Anderson didn't even need to be in the building to put the pressure on, right? He was just sitting there for about a whole minute in the round, holding pre-placed drones for the rest of CAG to just sweep their way in through the map. It was easy as that. And then by the time that he did get into the building, Crest was so boxed into the bomb site that he just sits there in jungle and just like watches them all fall in front of his eyes. Like Crest had given CAG so much respect in that round that they gave them half the map, not just half the map, but also the basement as well, which Black Ray made such good work of. He found 2 picks off of there as well. And so I think ultimately for Crest, they really actually leaned into being boxed in there by the presence of Anaton being afraid to go for that extended roam. And it looks like they're going to go for a pretty similar philosophy here as well. We've got the mirror on board for Eclair, so I can only imagine they're leaning more into that anchor-centric light setup. The only thing they really have for this roam going at the moment is Lua on the Frost, who's going to try and assist here on this top floor, and Sireneko, who hopefully with those Kiba barricades is going to be able to protect himself from those cut-off angles of windows on the exterior.
Well, this has been a series that's been largely close in terms of round differential. At no point on Labs or Chalet has Cyclops really ever been able to get, you know, say like even a 3-round kind of differential. Even back on Labs, Crest were able to bring it back to 5-4, and then it was 6-4 to Cyclops, then 6-5. So it's always been quite back and forth, quite close. At no point have they been able to sort of snowball momentum and really build a significant lead. I'd like to probably see Crest now get a little bit aggressive here, try and find these contact fights, look for these opening kills, get an advantage. It's one thing on Chalet they haven't quite done as well as they actually did, I think, on Labs at various times. Our games, though, you probably don't want to get too aggressive either.
Yeah, but I completely agree with what you said, to be honest. Like, especially against CAG, even though they've seen that presence of Anaton, they look really nervous now inside of this game. They don't look like they're contesting as early as they used to. And like you said, on Labs, it felt like they had so much more prowess going through the map compared to this map.
Slow entry at the moment from Cyclops. Happy to just maybe clear over towards Solar's side through Office, eventually deal with this library hallway shield. It's a bit more of a standard, stock standard approach towards attacking bar games. Lure down below. And clearly, 90 seconds left. He will be a factor. The question is from where? Can come up Fireplace Stairs, can come up West Main. Has a couple of entry points. It's Arkali that lost his life though. Good start and damage as well onto Anderton. Brings him low. So he's no longer in a super strong position. More trades continue to go out. Choppy being clearly threatened by Anaton, but no one able to probably follow up on this from Cyclops' side. It's just Anaton by himself. Jubisu can't get an angle on it, but the Azami Sireneko forgets about the window. Vault in, and Anaton wins the battle at the mezzanine. So it's a 2 versus 2 to get themselves match point, major point. A lot of it's going to come down to Jubisu though, Mandy. He's got full health. Anaton's got nothing. He's going to have to stay fully extended on the shield.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Just like a whiff of that smoke canister is going to take him down. But here comes Lua in through the basement as the vertical's going out for Chibisu. So if he's not aware, he could definitely be taken out from the back. All that Anaton can do now on the Monty is just provide info from Chibisu. Like you said, it's going to be fully on him to take both of these gunfights. It's essentially a 2 versus 1 in terms of the gunfight power. Anaton is going to put a lot of pressure on these guys though. So at the moment, Chibisu knows exactly where they might be. Except he doesn't know about Lua actually just on the exterior of Bar is able to take him down, and now with his third of HP, it's surely impossible for Anaton.
Yeah, you would imagine. So he's got no health at all. Lua, that's a big moment. Is that the kind of moment that we may look back to if we head into a third map? That's something you can look back to and say, okay, that's a moment where you turned that round. It was a 2 versus 2. If Lua doesn't go for that play, if he tries to play default, push up like library stairs, Mandy, and play sight, maybe Chibisu then kills the player Barstock. Maybe they get the plant down. There's a lot of maybes, but what we know definitely is Crest have won that round. And similar to Labs, we continue with this back and forth nature. It's 5-4. So still no match point here on Chalet for Cyclops. Still no major point, and Crest are still alive.
That was really well played by Lua, and that's 2-on-2. The win condition of that 2 versus 2 was Anaton on the Monty being able to keep track of both of the defenders, right? As if Chibisu had info on both those defenders, that definitely could have lent in the way of the attack, especially with the grenades in hand and the vertical in play. It felt like they had the control that they needed to actually be able to pick off one of those defenders, right? But by Lua staying out of sight of the Monty's info, he was able to take that crucial 1v1 onto the player with that gun up of Chibisu, completely unknowing to him, right? And as a result, Crest are really starting to bring back their scoreline on the defending half.
Attackers drop the diffuser. Attackers recover the diffuser.
So the Ram gets brought out, 10th round, 2 rounds away from a major, and Suzu opts to bring his Boogie Auto breaches into the fold. I kind of don't mind it on this site. You can actually throw them off the rappel, open up the floorboards, and then play the vert down below from kitchen and dining. So there are actually opportunities, along with the fact that they're just super loud. And that can kind of get you set up into positions for executing, especially with those Candels from Anaton. The Ying and the Montang Master. Now on to the Ying. Suzu, though, over towards main entrance at the moment. Lua defending towards bathroom. Not a whole lot of pressure outside him on the balcony just yet. Black Ray Akali, though, making their way towards that location. What's the plan, though, for Suzu with these Boogie Auto breaches? Almost loses their life immediately. Well, we're not going to get an answer. Wow, rapid response from Crest. Talk about wanting to take the early fights in the round. They're risky plays, they're risky positions, but Mandy, it pays off in dividends. 4 versus 2. And they look now set to tie this up 5-5.
Cyclops remain absolutely supreme here in that early round, literally sticking their faces inside of the windows and trying to take the fight here against Crest, who actually hold on back to them. Sorry, I think I said it the wrong way around, didn't I? Crest are remaining supreme here in the early round. They are taking the fight to Cyclops just like you asked them to. Here comes Chibisu down the solar stairs, but there's info on him. Not just that, but barbed wire to block his way as well. So his push is going to be completely known to Crest on the other side. A flashbang to go out, full blind the mirror on the top of the stairs, but he can't claim his life. Whiskey, he takes him down.
So 4 versus 1. Crest themselves have been in this position where they're the one a couple of times on this map, but for the first time, it's Cyclops, and they also will have no chance of turning it around. 5-5. We go. One of these two teams is going to get a very major match point here at the conclusion of this 11th round. For Cyclops, it could send them potentially to a major. For Crest, it could send us to a third map, where suddenly a bit of doubt might just creep into the minds of Cyclops. If they lose here on Chalet and we require a third map, you just wonder if all of those chokes in the past, all those times failing to make certain qualifications, does it come back to haunt them if we are required to head to Clubhouse? It's Snow Wine for the 11th round. And while this is not a match point round, Mandy. It sort of feels like it in some way.
It certainly does. I think for me, this is like turning point for Cyclops, right? They know that the major is 2 rounds away in their hands. They're on the attack. You alluded to this before, but Cyclops should be good on this half, right? They had a very strong attacking half in their previous matches on Chalet, but they can't quite do it against Crest just yet, right? The pressure is starting to amount to them as we go over down to this basement bomb site. It does look like CAG want to go for a full sweep of the map here. They have brought along the double hard breach to put pressure on as much of the bomb site as they possibly can. I imagine that they're going to split their hard breach in half to try and open up both walls. They've been doing that quite a lot here on Chalet. They've just been trying to take what control has been given to them. Not just that though, but they do have the bug in the hands of Black Ray too. So if they do make good of this roam clear, they can make use of the verticals. Cyclops have really picked operators that open up all of their options depending on what map control is given to them by Crest.
So we'll electrify chuck wires from Whiskey. No EMPs, no secondary EMPs will have to be dealt with in other circumstances. ADSs as well for Lua in play. Deal with those nades. Cyclops, though, more than happy to just get free library and mezzanine control. No presence at all from Crest in denying them that map position. Lua wants to take a look. Don't blame it. Don't hate it. It just actually makes a slow walk back down library towards the basement, so not really getting too aggressive. Thought maybe there was a chance he actually goes up, looks to contest top library. Elects not to, especially when you've already got a bit of a roam game elsewhere towards kitchen and dining. We'll play outside from Cyclops, watching through that trophy window. I believe that was Suzu on the Habana. Jibisu up above. Suddenly time is a factor now as well, Mandy. When you haven't cleared out any roamers, you haven't got a lot of map control on Snow Wine, it can be difficult. Then going down to basement and trying to win all those trades. And they're not set up for a boiler push either at the moment, unless they do it last second.
Well, you say that, but they do actually have quite a lot of map control in their hands now, right? They've managed to roam clear so much, or at least force the roamers to fall off so much, that they've got full lobby control. And with both the buck and the sledge in the hands of the attackers, they can start to make this vertical work. But remember, those holes are two-way. Whiskey takes the fight through the vertical and actually takes down Black Ray from his own angles.
Great start in the round for Crest. Deal with the buck, just under a minute remaining. A lot of players now on site. In fact, all 5 for Crest. They're just bunkering down. Lua playing behind the shelf, a very aggressive position. Drones could potentially be a thorn in his side, though. Only 2 remain. Those 2 drones need to be utilized almost perfectly. Are they about to cook a nade to clear behind the shelf, though? I think they know of his position. They certainly do, by the way that they are starting to posture. Down fireplace stairs, through the breach. They make a sprint for it. Want to get the plant down. Anderson's trying to do it through the stairwell. That's not bad. Behind the shelf for a bit of safety. It's not at the breach, though. 20 seconds. He has successfully got the plant down behind the shelf. Loses his life immediately. And now retake mode begins for Crest. And they've got the player advantage. Suzu can play breach. And Cyclops will try and utilize that to advantage. Akali, what is this? A Roman. Chibisu above. Plays the bird. What are you doing? Just runs forward. Whiskey gets a free kill. It clears on the plan. It's a counter defuse. Crest have got match point in the second map of the semi-final. 3 rounds in a row that Cyclops have succumbed to a Crest defense.
And the pressure is really starting to amount now for Cyclops. Like you're saying, they're on an absolute roll. After that technical timeout, Crest have made the comeback of the century to keep their major dream alive. What a fantastic retake as well that was on the basement. The vertical pressure that came through was met by so much confidence for the players left on the bomb site. We were on board with Whiskey as he took the 1 versus 1 with Black Ray through his own vertical holes to eventually allow his teammates there on the ground floor to actually then retake into lobby and then convert that into getting that bomb diffused down for them. So Crest really now having the momentum on their side are going to go over to Baron Games. They're going to lean into that Mirror Azami setup. There's a lot of work here for CAG to do, but look at the lineup that they're bringing. We've got the smokes of the Capitao along with the glass. It makes me really curious as to what Cyclops are cooking up here.
10 seconds to go.
So they have to force OT. What a turn of events here from Crest. I'm not going to lie, Mandy, I won't. At 5-3, I started to think that Cyclops had really turned a corner and they were going to dominantly win this game. But what a response from Crest, and you've got to give them the plaudits. When they looked just that little bit down and out, they've been able to respond 3 rounds in a row. Maybe shades and signs of old Cyclops just succumbing at the sort of more crucial moments. And how about that for a start? Spawn peek from bathroom. Black Gray's gone. So no air jabs, no nomad. And it's a 5 versus 4 round. And Cyclops need to win now, down a player. And they've brought the Glaz. Don't know if that's going to be an operator you want when you're now down a player. I sense we're going to Clubhouse.
I've got that feeling as well. I've got a horrible feeling about this round, especially off the back of that spawn peek from Sireneko. Crest are really starting to show their form here on the defense, just as they did against Exist yesterday. Defense seems to be the name of their game here on Chalet, as Sireneko can actually fall back from his roam, so he hasn't been cut off at all by the remaining players of Cyclops. Even though they did have pressure over on that solar side of the map, he plays it safely. The next point of contest for them is going to be this library position, but no one's playing in the corner. Acrolli thankfully is able to get one back onto Lure though, so ground floor control is starting to creep into the hands of Cyclops, and they're trying to open up their options to get into the bomb site here, right? If they can't clear out that top floor, they can at least clear out this ground floor.
And there's still a lot of time, 90 seconds, so they don't have to rush. It's not a position that they have to put themselves into awful positions early here. They've still got some time. Play the standard here. Clear that hallway position. Try and get top library. It's park games. You don't have very far to go to clear these spots. A lot of it's just going to come down to who feels brave enough to go for these entry kills, to clear positions like Choppy at the mezzanine. And I tell you what, he's just slipped into a decent little position at the office wall. If he doesn't get seen, he could catch someone off guard. I don't mind this. He obviously feels a little bit vulnerable. If someone looks to push up from basement through fireplace stairs, he would be spotted. Arkali actually posturing at the bottom of fireplace. 45 seconds. Next kill just feels so pivotal, and it does come the way from Choppy. The risk has found its reward, and they clear with a nitrocell as well to really put a dagger into the heart of Cyclops. They come up short, and Crest come up big to send this to a third map. This semi-final is going to the distance. No one is given a major. You have to earn it. And right now, Crest are at least putting themselves in a position to really fight for it. We go to Clubhouse.
Crest hold absolutely strong here as they flip over to the defending half. A 7-5 scoreline, much like we saw on Labs, is an excellent one here for Crest, taking on the Titans of CAG. And like you said, we go to map 3, and this series is absolutely